Everybody, welcome back to Surprise Radio. I'm your host, Surprise, and with me today I have Clive, the singer of Heartsick. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much.
So, how long has Heartsick been together?
Oh shit. The short story is 8 years under the Heartsick name. The long story is 23 years all together. We had a different band name. We used to be called No Life, KNOWLYFE. But myself, the bass player and the guitar player are all original members since day one. So
And do you mind listing some of your influences or heroes?
yeah, for sure. So I would say that like my biggest influence is Deftones, our bass player. I'd say probably his biggest influence is like bands like Poison the Well. A lot of East Coast hardcore. Our bassist is a real big hardcore fan, but also a big Deftones fan. Our guitar player, Jared, I'd say his favorite brand is probably either System of a Down or Tool, I think, but I think more System of a Down. But he's also a big Deftones fan too. And then our new drummer, whose name is Barrick, he's a really big Gojira fan, to my knowledge. So yeah, so I'd say like all those bands sort of incorporate some of what the band is. I think all of us really obviously enjoy heavy metal. We love heavy metal, so the music's heavy. But I think because we're so diverse in the bands that we like, I think it adds sort of to the weirdness of what the band has as music comes out.
So, I know that you guys are from Lansing, Michigan. All of you are in that area?
Yeah, yeah. So I live in Lansing. So we all live about like 10 minutes from each other. Myself, our guitar player, and our bass player all live in Lansing, and we all live within 5 minutes of each other. Our new drummer that just joined the band, his name is Barrick, and Barrick lives about 25 minutes up the road from us in a small town called I think it's, oh my God, what's the name of that? Springport. He lives in Springport, Michigan, which is like 25 minutes south of Lansing, so not far at all.
And I know that you just played or were scheduled to play the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. So, how was that trying to travel that as Michiganders all the way to, what was that, in Virginia?
Virginia, yeah. It wasn't bad, man. Like, I mean, we're used to being on tour. We're used to touring. We're used to doing a lot of shows. Um, the band is no stranger to traveling. I think the difference with this particular festival and shows was the fact that it was our first time like actually camping. Like we're not very big outdoorsy people. I think our bass player may be. I think Waylon may have some camping experience under his belt, but I'm not sure. I know that myself and our guitar player don't really camp ever. So I think that was the biggest difference. We were lucky and fortunate. We got to play Blue Ridge Festival before everything happened. So we opened up the main stage on Thursday on the first official day of the fest. So, it wasn't bad. Like the travel there wasn't bad at all. Not at all.
And so, since we've brought up Blue Ridge, it is currently September 12th, and I know that you just got back from doing all that. Um, you know, we all know, or many people in the music industry know what happened there, but not a lot of people know the positivity that you guys tried to bring. And it's kind of a story, so I just kind of wanted to give you the floor and let you tell the story of what you guys did to keep the music alive for those that made the
Yeah.
trip out there.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we got chosen to play Blue Ridge, they had sort of like this like fan vote type thing. And our
On
fans,
DW Presents.
no, this is so Blue Ridge has nothing to do with Danny
Oh,
Wimmer
okay.
Presents. So
Okay.
Blue Ridge is its own entity, at least to
Okay.
my knowledge. And they put up this thing where they wanted to get like a underground band to play their fest as well, and they would be voted on. And we were lucky enough, and we had enough people vote for us. So we had been planning what we were gonna do for Blue Ridge for a long time. Our bass player was like, "Dude, I love a lot of these bands that are on this festival. I want to see them all. Can we just stay all 4 days? Because our plan was just to go play and then come back or find some shows around there. The initial plan of finding some shows in the area became really tough because it's such a big festival and everyone was playing it. So everyone took all the booking dates up. So we were like, well, screw it. We'll just stay at the festival. But then we're like, we're going to stay at the festival for 4 days and we're going to not have a lot to do. And we got to try and make some money. So we ended up coming with the idea that we would do like pop-up shows. So we would play our day at Blue Ridge and then we would play at night, like sometime around like 11:45 at night, we would start playing a pop-up show. We decided to invite our friends in a band called Fight From Within to play those pop-up shows with us. And then we coordinated with a campsite because they have like factions of campsites and stuff at Blue Ridge, and we coordinated with one that was from Michigan. Uh, the camp's name is Camp Show Me Your Butthole. I did not make that up. That is not my thing. I feel super awkward saying it, but I guess that's the whole point.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that in the post, and I kind of wondered. I was like, was that like an
Yeah,
inside
no, that
joke that
has
we
nothing
didn't
to do
know?
with that is really their own thing. So we coordinated with them and then we got a hold of Blue Ridge Rock Festival and and their subsidiaries and said, hey, we want to do this. Is this okay? They pretty much were like, we can't stop you. We don't particularly want you to do it, but we can't stop you, kind of thing. We said, okay, cool. So we set out with a plan to do these like pop-up generator shows, and then we contacted a buddy of ours who has a lot of sound equipment and some pretty professional sound equipment, and we said, hey, we're thinking about doing this. This is kind of what we're looking for to make the show sound good and so it doesn't suck. And he's like, yeah, absolutely, I've got all this stuff, let's do it. And we said, okay, fine, we'll get you into the festival for all 4 days if you just trade that work for this. And he said, yeah, sure. So we went and like, dude, we brought like an entire club with us, like of gear. It was like subs, tops, the lights. Like we brought the whole fucking shindig, and that's what we did. We were doing generator shows. So we did our show the first night, went fine. Then we did our pop-up show, went fine. In between that, there was some pretty severe weather on Thursday, but the weather passed and we were able to do our first generator show. And that went off without a hitch. Like 300-400 people was great. Second night was Friday. Again, did the same thing, 200-300 people, nothing major. It was great. It was cool. Worked out. We wake up Saturday and it was raining. And it was pretty muddy from the night before because it rained Friday as well. But later in the day, like earlier in the day, and then it stopped and then it rained again. So we woke up, it was pretty rainy, and there was rummagings of rumors going around that like they were canceling the whole fest. And we're like, oh shit, that's not good. And then the word came down that they canceled the whole fest. And then one of our buddies came up to me and like I was sleeping in our van and he just like, they're canceling the whole fest. You got to play music. You have to do a show, dude. We can't not have music at this festival. This is garbage, blah, 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 blah. And we're like, okay, cool. Let's figure it out. At the time, it was still raining. So obviously we want to do the show, but we can't have our gear get messed up. So again, our friend Randy, who brought all the sound equipment and everything else, and then our crew, he had also brought like a 20-foot like canopy, like just huge canopy. And we literally just were like, okay, we're doing this. And we got like a bunch of random ass people to help us literally lift this like 20-foot like canopy. We moved it over and then we started setting up all our like sound gear. And it took us like every night we were setting up the sound gear and taking it down with our crew. So we hadn't set up the sound gear yet. So we got all these people help us move the canopy. We set up all the sound gear. And we had the guys from Fight From Within start like passing out the flyers that we already had printed already. And then like getting on golf carts and like getting on a megaphone and just telling people around the camps. It's 20 minutes goes by and there was like 300 people. And we're like, oh, this is cool. And then like another 20 minutes go by and then there's like 2,000 people. And we're
Oh
like,
wow.
okay, this is getting serious. And then by the time the bands played at like 6:30, there was like 5,000 people. Like I am not exaggerating. Like there was like 5,000 people at this thing. From my understanding, Papa Roach and Shinedown and Oliver Anthony were like playing some acoustic show up the road,
I
like
did
up
see
the
that. I
way
did see that.
by where
Yeah.
we were. But all the reason why they don't show you the whole video is because if you really look, half of it is empty because people started leaving to come to our show. That's what we were told, and we're like, oh shit. And Shinedown stopped because we were just too loud. And then yeah, man, we just headlined the night, and it was crazy, dude. It was awesome. Like there was no drama, nobody got hurt. There was the EMS came and helped out, and they were there just as support. All of Blue Ridge's security that they could offer, they came to us. Blue Ridge themselves came to us and let us do it. Like it was super rad. It was awesome. Like the Blue Ridge staff came to us and they were like, dude, this is amazing. Good job. Thank you for keeping these people at bay. So like, yeah, it was awesome, man. It was awesome to see a collective group of people get together and make something happen and give something to the people that truly did lose a lot, man. I mean, we were there the whole time. We witnessed a lot of stuff that was going on. Now on our end, we didn't really have a bad experience. I don't have anything bad to say about Blue Ridge whatsoever from my perspective of how we were treated as artists and as campers. But we were very lucky. We had a campsite that was right by the stages, that was very comfy, all this other stuff. I did drive around the grounds and did see a lot of like destruction from the storm and a lot of mud and a lot of logistical issues that I think may have not been adequately planned for. I think there was good intentions for what they wanted to do with the festival, but I think that when they reached a number of people that I don't think they would even thought that they would reach, I think logistically it became a lot to handle, and to have done it correctly would have taken a lot more planning and would have had to postpone the festival. And I'm not sure that that's something that whoever was invested in that thought was for the best interest of the festival. But again, like we never had a problem. We were treated very well as artists. No one was rude to us. I didn't see at no point in time did I see anybody, staff or otherwise, be rude to anybody else. There was for sure there was logistical issues, parking issues. Parking was definitely a huge logistical issue. Definitely saw the logistical issues of trying to transport that many people on buses. That was a nightmare for sure. Like that for sure. Like we had access to a car and access to get in and out of the campsites when we wanted to because we're artists, and we had a car to go do the things that we needed to do if we needed something. And we saw those lines and they were brutal. They really were. So I think on that end, I think that's something that they could have done better for sure. But overall, our generator show was amazing. It was a super success. No one got hurt. No one destroyed any property, nothing. It was just everybody having a good time, jamming out to a band that they discovered or and they've already liked.
And so it was you and Fight from Within and a couple other bands that played, or was it just y'all?
So it was Heartsick as the headliner, Fight from Within. I set my friends on fire as direct support. Scars Remain, and then Fight from Within, and that was the bill.
Very cool. And as somebody that wasn't there, but that really appreciates, like I said before, I positivity and togetherness. And one of the reasons that I have really grown just a fondness and a love for the independent scene is the togetherness, the almost family like atmosphere that most of the artists seem to have for each other. And so on behalf of everybody, I want to thank you for doing that, for keeping everybody as happy as they possibly could be under the circumstances. And it probably to helped with some of those bus issues, things like that, people not able to get out of there. Instead, they might have stayed for the show and it wouldn't have been quite as bad, things like that. So I really appreciate what you guys did and what everybody did to try to make a bad situation a little better.
Oh, dude, thank you very much. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, that's what we really wanted to do. Is just like all these people came to pay to see something. We already have the means and the ability to give them what they want to see. Let's just do it. The hard part was getting everybody to work together in unison in tandem under a timeline that was a little pressing, but we made it work and it was great. It's unfortunate what happened at Blue Ridge. It's unfortunate that it turned out the way that it did for a lot of bands. We were one of the very lucky bands that got to play and got to do their set. A lot of really big bands didn't get to play their set at all. And a lot of them traveled very, very far to be there. But what can you do?
So speaking of tours and to lighten it up just a little bit, do you have a favorite tour or a venue that you've done?
Oh shit. I would say my favorite tour that we've done as a band, probably in recent years, is probably when we toured with Combi Christ and King A10. That was really fun and really enjoyed that. Um, all those guys were just really cool. And we ended up, and it was such a weird mix of bands that it was like, somehow this works kind of thing. But favorite venue? That's a good question. There's a lot of really badass venues in the United States, but I would say if I had to pick my favorite venue as of recently, it's still is probably the Machine Shop here in Flint, Michigan. It's just there's I don't know, man. There that place is just has this like aura and feel to it that you don't get anywhere else, and it's really, really infectious. And everyone at the Machine Shop is just super nice, very down to earth people, and they really care about music and their artists. So I would have to go with that.
That's a good answer because I see the machine shop shouted out a lot. A lot of artists really like playing there. So it's good to know anybody out there that might be thinking about touring towards the Michigan area to look up the machine shop, see if you can't get a show there. Uh,
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Do it.
so speaking of shouting things out, do you have any sponsors you want to shout out?
Um, we're not like the biggest sponsorship band, so there's not a lot, but the sponsors that we do have, they're really awesome. We have some really great friends in our in-ear, so we use in-ear monitors. For those who don't know what that is, it's basically molded earplugs into our ears that feed our guitars and our tracks and vocals and everything into our ears, so we're always on time and we can hear everything clearly. Our company is called In Ears, and they're really awesome and they take really good care of us. And they have really great gear. So if you're a musician out there thinking about getting an in-ear system for yourself, check out In Ears, INEARZ. They do a really great job. And then our friends at Puck Hockey, we're all really big hockey fans in Michigan, obviously for obvious reasons, but we're really big hockey fans in our band. And Puck Hockey is an awesome company that sort of incorporates heavy metal and hockey into their clothing brand, and we really, really love it. I love a lot of their stuff, and I always love to tell people to check them out because they really are cool, and it's a very unique apparel company, which I enjoy.
And that is part of the reason why I wanted to ask you about them was because I've seen you post about that specific puck hockey and I saw it on your profile and I was a little curious as to what exactly that was. So I appreciate you explaining that for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, they're awesome, man. They've got like a lot of really cool collabs with a lot of bands, and then they have their own clothing line. Like I've never been like too much of like a band merch type person, just because I think after so much touring and stuff, it just wears you out, sort of thing. But there are still shirts that I like to buy from bands. But I really like their clothing line that they have, like the Puck Hockey brand themselves. Their designs and stuff are really, really cool. So
That's really cool. So I know that you just released a new single, right?
yes, sir. Yep, we just released a song. It's called 8 Years with the video. The video was done by our very good friend William, aka Wombat Fire. Him and his wife do amazing work. We met them during the pandemic and have been friends ever since. And they are just awesome. It's I call them peaches because they really are, but they're also from Georgia. So they're just peaches of human beings, man, and extremely creative and just have such a wonderful artistic vision. So whenever we get together to do videos, we're just like we don't have a concept. You do whatever you want with this music video. It's like it's to me it just feels like I'm walking into a room where Picasso is painting and trying to tell him how to hold a paintbrush, like that's just not going to work. So yeah, so that song is called 8 Years. The video is done by Wombat, and then our producer, our very long time producer and friend Josh Schroeder, who's produced some bands you may or may not have heard of, like King A10 and Lorna Shore and Attila, Plea for Purging, and so many others. We got really lucky with him, and we work with him on our music. So, big shout out to him.
That does explain why y'all sound so good. I I happened to choose to feature Sadness on my show last week, and then I find out that 8 Years
Yay!
came out. Um, but I actually haven't heard 8 Years yet, just because I've been so busy myself with doing my thing. But I'm really excited to check that out because Sadness was the first song that I heard from y'all, and I was very, very impressed. And
Yeah,
then, yeah, I don't remember where. I'll be honest with you. I get so many because what I'll do is I'll check flyers, I'll see who's played with who, I'll see who's shouting who out, and I just forget where I get suggestions from.
for
And
sure. It gets overwhelming. I
it
get it.
does. But I was really glad that I checked it out and I was really excited. And then I heard about what you guys did at Blue Ridge and I was like, man, I gotta talk to these guys and see what they're about. Um so do you have I know that you just released a single, so I don't want to ask about upcoming singles, but do you have any upcoming
Oh,
tours
yeah.
coming up?
No, yeah. I mean, dude, we have so much. You can ask whatever you want, man. It's like I think we're in the age of the internet. You know what I'm saying? So
People
everything
do
comes
want
out.
something right away, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, we have. We're working on just promoting 8 years right now, that single, and then we're releasing another single. That song will be called Sleep Cycles, and it'll come out later this year, probably like mid-fall. We have this Blue Ridge thing that we just did, and then we just played a show with Kane Hell and Barry tomorrow. And then we have about a week and a half off, and then we go back out with our friends in a band called Let It Rot, and we're playing North Carolina, South Carolina, excuse me, and Tennessee. I think we play the 21st, we play in Gastonia, North Carolina. The 22nd, we play in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The 23rd, we play Chattanooga, Tennessee. And then we come back home, and then we're home for about a week, and then we go out with Taproot and we play some shows with them, and then we come home, and then we're home pretty much for the entire month of November, for the most part, and then in December we go and we play some shows in Puerto Rico, and then that's the year for Heartsick after that. So
Very cool. And I know that I have a lot of friends and people in the North Carolina area that tune in to the show. So y'all definitely want to go check out Heartsick when they're in your area here soon. Um, is there anything else that you guys or that you may want to say to your fans or to anybody out there that's listening right now?
yeah, I mean, I always like to just tell people, just whatever you're like pursuing in your life, whether it be a career, music, art, whatever it is, whatever makes you happy, whatever, feeds your soul, I'd say just focus on that, man. I think we've transitioned into this society that sort of pushes the idea that like you have to follow money, and I don't know. I was always raised with the idea that money comes if you just pursue what makes you happy, as long as you're a happy person and you have something that that gives your life meaning, whether it be a hobby that you have that you want to turn into something more, whether it be your relationship with your religion or your religious beliefs, whether it be whatever it is, your job or whatever, but just follow that rather than like putting a price on that and following that, because it then becomes jaded with a bunch of nonsense. And I think if you have a dream, just follow it, whatever it is. You know, if it's being in a band and touring the country, follow that. If it means opening up your own little cake business, do that. You know, do something that makes you happy, and really pursue it and don't give up. Especially these days with the internet and stuff, there's this sort of skewing of the reality and the perception that things happen overnight, and that's not true at all. I think anything worth having, anything worth uh, being able to indulge in when you accomplish it takes a lot of work, and you have to be mindful of that, and you have to be willing to put in the effort to make your dreams come true. So yeah, that would be my message to everybody, man. It's just pursue your dreams and don't give up, you know?
I certainly do appreciate you joining me today. Ladies and gentlemen, Heartsick, y'all make sure to check them out. Of course, I will be linking all of their, well, I say all of their, I'll be putting their website, their Spotify, and their YouTube in the description below. Once again, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it very much.